The Montreal Canadiens training camp is underway for 2022-23, and already there are injuries to report. Plus, there have been 4 intra-squad scrimmages already, and I'll briefly review 3 of those, and a few other stories surrounding the team that I want to talk about. You get that all right here. Hey, everybody, I'm Rick. Welcome to Talking Habs, where you get your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge. So some training camp injury news. So everyone, and that's myself included, have been kind of dying and anxiously awaiting to see Uri Slafkovsky line up with Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. And it seems like we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. The Montreal Canadiens released some early training camp injury list, and Nick Suzuki is on that list, along with a few other players. I'm going to talk about that here. What happened was, in a very early scrimmage, practice scrimmage, I guess, Nick collided with Joel Edmondson, and both of them ended up being out. Nick is going to be out 2 weeks, and Edmondson's going to be out for, it's indefinite. So we'll get to that in a minute. So the 2 weeks, if it stays only the 2 weeks, should have him available for the final 2 preseason games versus Ottawa. That's October 6th and 8th. Should give him enough time to get ready to start the season. I'm sure he's already in good shape and all that. So I don't think it's a worry, but if that timeline gets stretched out a little bit, it could put in jeopardy his Ironman streak. He's got a 209-game Ironman streak, I think, from the start of his career. I don't think he's missed a game. I've made a prediction that I think he's going to go he'll have a long one. He seems to be the kind of guy that doesn't get hurt somehow, and then here he gets hurt. So I hope it doesn't put in jeopardy his Ironman streak. It'd be disappointing. And we're going to have to wait till the final 2 preseason games. I imagine they're going to line those 3 up. I hope. I'm sure they want to take a look at them. So it's unfortunate, but that's what happens, right? So as I said, also defenseman and alternate captain Joel Edmondson is also out. He's listed as indefinite. So if you remember last season, Edmondson didn't start the season because of a back injury. Then his father passed away, and then the back injury just took that much longer to get better, and he didn't start playing until March, I believe, and he only played 24 games last season. So it's kind of a deja vu with the indefinite tag, and we'll see what happens. The only good part about it is that it'll open up an opportunity, maybe even 2 opportunities for these young defensemen. I'm specifically kind of speaking about Arbor, Jack Eye, and Caden Gooley, to have different roles than they would have gotten before, and maybe some longer looks and bigger opportunities. So we'll see how that works out, and how maybe they reach out on the waiver wire for somebody. We're gonna have to see in the next little while how that works out. In the immediate future, or immediate time, I imagine if it's long enough, they put them on the LTIR. They do get some cap relief for now, and maybe that helps them out for now. So let's hope for a speedier recovery for Joel Edmondson this year, and it's not going to take till March to heal up. There were also 2 other players on the list, and one was Josh Anderson and one was Jake Evans, and they were both listed as day-to-day with upper body injuries. Then the next day, the scrimmages started, and Jake Evans was playing, so he wasn't out very long. But Josh Anderson's still out. Apparently he's skating and getting ready. I would imagine he'll be in the preseason game on Monday, and if not too long after that. There was also no word on Sean Monahan. Monahan wasn't in the scrimmage games. So there's he's listed as healthy and ready to play, but he wasn't in the scrimmage games. So you got to wonder what's up with that. I'm sure there'll be some kind of an announcement, or we'll just see him in the preseason game on Monday. I'm not sure, but we'll see what happens with that. But there's no update as the time I'm filming this for Sean Monahan. A couple of weeks ago, when Nick Suzuki was named as the new captain of the team, this little piece the story I'm going to do right now, kind of came out then, and I've been holding on to it since then, and I'm finally using it now. In the summer of 2021, Habs captain Shea Weber had a conversation with Nick Suzuki, where he made a very accurate prediction, and he gave Nick some good advice. Nick says he kind of shrugged it off, but didn't forget the talk that he had with his captain. Here's what Nick said about the situation. He told me to be myself. You already have the respect of everyone in the room, so you don't need to change who you are because you have a C on your jersey. That sounded to us like quite the compliment, but Suzuki kind of shrugged it off. We had talked about it before, he said. As it turns out, not long after the Canadiens were eliminated in the Stanley Cup final by the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2021, Weber and Suzuki had a conversation. It wasn't clear exactly when, but what's clear in retrospect is that Weber knew at the time of that conversation that his career was likely over. So this conversation meant something. He told me that I would be the next captain of the Montreal Canadiens, Suzuki said. Very prophetic words from our former captain, and very accurate as well. It kind of makes you wonder, were they already talking about Nick Suzuki? I'm talking about management as a potential captain of the future at that point. I'm wondering. I'm sure it was obvious at the time to every player in that locker room that Nick had the temperament and the personality, the character, and obviously the talent to be the captain and to lead this team, going forward into the future. Kind of just as he had just led them in playoff points. And, as fans, I think most of us recognized it at that time as well. It's another awesome Habs story in a long list of awesome Habs stories in the history of the team that we love, the Montreal Canadiens. An update on Sean Monahan. According to Coach Marty St. Louis, Habs are being cautious with Monahan, and they kept him out of the scrimmages on purpose. But they'll play him in the preseason games at some point. It's not exactly clear when, but at some point. And this seems to make it possible that Monahan could be ready for opening night. Executive Vice President Jeff Gorton was on TSN 690's The Mitch Melnick Show. He was asked about a couple of burning questions Habs fans have been asking. Here's some of what he said. How will Montreal deal with the logjam at the forward position? When the option of waivers was brought up, Gorton seemed hesitant to agree that he would use this avenue to trim his roster, especially if young players impressed. Instead, he believed the Canadiens needed to get creative in order to have all the pieces of the puzzle fall into place this season. It's not your favorite thing to do. It's not something you like to do, but we might have to, said Gorton, when it comes to the use of waivers to bring the roster down to 23 players. If all these young kids are ready and can help us now, then yeah, we'll create the space. Whether we trade someone or whether we use waivers, we'll be as creative as we can to make it work that we have the right players here. Will Montreal tank this season in order to get a shot at first overall pick again, or at least a high draft pick? According to Gorton, it isn't about tanking, but about ensuring that the youngsters on the team take the next steps in becoming a sustainably competitive team, especially at forward. It's really just about getting better. We have so many young players that it's just about developing and getting better and see how far we can push it with the group we have, said Gorton regarding the idea that the Canadiens should tank due to the strong 2023 NHL draft class. I like our group of forwards. We have young D and veteran D. We're not worried about that. There's not one NHL player that's thinking about tanking right now. Although Gorton didn't flat out say the Canadiens were tanking, he also was quick to praise the forward group, which is rather deep this year, but mentioned the youth of his defense and glossed over his goaltending. The Canadiens may not be explicitly tanking, but outside of a very balanced forward group, they still have many of the same glaring weaknesses as last season, and that may indeed cost them a playoff spot. It will. So expect some kind of creative player movement, a trade, or a waiver of someone. Yoel Armia, Mike Hoffman, during the preseason or the week in between preseason when it ends and the opening night on October 12th. That's kind of what I think is going to happen. Let me know in the comment section what you think about that. Do you think they're going to waive somebody, make a trade, and when do you think that's going to happen? If you listen to Kirby Doc talk about Coach Marty St. Louis in his presser just after his first scrimmage game, you can't help but think what a difference Coach Marty's made in the locker room. He's brought a fun yet serious atmosphere. The word family's been thrown around by a few players that I've read so far. It's a positive, motivational approach. And I'll tell you, as a Habs fan, I'm absolutely loving what I'm seeing in the results so far. Cole Caulfield agrees with me. And here's a quote from a recent interview with him. The way he coaches, I kind of connect to it in a way that makes sense to me. The things he talks about, the way his brain works and how he sees things is very straightforward and makes you think about it too. He kind of gives you the ideas and you make it your own. It's been cool because I've never really had a coach like that. I really looked up to him throughout my life. He's the kind of guy where you want to soak everything in. So every time he's talking or showing something on video, you're dialed into it. He's done great things so far, and I'm really excited to get to work with him going forward. And, I think for Cole Caulfield, because there's a big question, Habs fans wondering, does Cole Caulfield stay or does he try to, go back to the States as soon as he can? And I think Coach Marty has a lot to do with this quote that you're seeing right now that I'm going to show you. I feel like once you're a part of the team, you're part of this forever. The legends that have come before you, you're playing for them too. And he doesn't really mention the coach in there, but I think for him to feel that sense of the history of the team and all that, I think Coach Marty has a lot to do with that. His positive attitude for the team and wanting to remain there. His friendship with Nick Suzuki, of course. Some French girls too, probably. So, yeah, that question came up tonight in a live stream. That's why I put it in here. And I had that quote, and I didn't know where else to use it. So there you go. So I think Coach Marty has a big effect here on this club already. He hasn't coached for long, but you can see that he's going to be an effective coach, and the players love him. He's already got these guys bought into the system that he's using, which isn't much of a system. It's more concepts over system. They believe in him, and they'll skate through a brick wall for him. I think that's without a doubt. And to me, that spells out winner. Obviously, Coach Marty's a winner. He was a winner as a player, and he's going to be a winner as a coach. He's brought a great winning attitude already to the locker room. That, given a few years, I think that means he's going to bring a championship or three to this city. And I believe that. I think Coach Marty will bring the 25th Stanley Cup to Montreal. I've made that prediction before. And I never know how many. This is a really good-looking team that he's got. I mean, the talent here looks like the most talent we've seen on a Montreal Canadiens team in the longest time. And I'm glad that Coach Marty is the guy that's in charge to oversee that and develop these guys into a winning team. And I think he'll be here for a long time, and there's going to be a few championships coming out of it. I'm sure most, if not all of you, know about the ads on the sweater this year in the NHL. The Montreal Canadiens have jumped into this sweater ad pool by aligning with RBC and allowing an ugly eyesore of a patch on the right side of the chest, opposite of where the C or the A would be. The Habs have always been the classiest organization in the NHL, in my opinion. But along with this season's new requirement for players to speak French, and also the mostly French media content, as far as like these scrimmage live streams and most of the questions allowed in any of the press conferences, this new patch, this eyesore on the sweater could have been done much better than this ugly patch that they put there. Whoever approved this design should immediately be fired and then beaten with a stick. The Montreal Canadiens and RDS have been showing the scrimmage games between scrimmage teams A, B, C, and D twice a day at 9 a.m. and at 1 p.m. The players have been split into 4 groups of 10 forwards, 5 defensemen, and 2 goalies. It was a scoreless tie. Almost had you wondering, geez, are they going to score no goals this season? But the Reds won with 2-0 in the shootout. I thought the line of Pitlick, Dak, and Heineman stood out for the Reds. I also thought Cole Caulfield for the Whites was great all over the ice. He was fast. He was making plays. You could see his vision and his hockey IQ at work. Cole Caulfield was good. I thought Gouli also was a standout, and the 6'7" John Parker Jones was playing defense after being a winger at the rookie development camp. Mike Matheson is a smooth skater. The pairings of Matheson, Barron, Gooley, and Savard, you could see that could be a thing early on in the season when the real games get started. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Norlinder looked really good. I thought he looked a lot better than the previous season. I'll also say Leskinen. I thought Leskinen was pretty smooth skater and looked pretty good out there as well. The play was fast. It was fun to watch, and I thought, there was no scoring, but the defensive play was really good out there on both teams, I thought. There were some really good saves by the goalies, and I think overall it was just, I like what I saw, and I keep saying it was fun to watch. Yeah, it was really fun to watch for some reason. I don't know. The second scrimmage was dominated by the Red squad. It was a 5-1 final score. I think the line of Slafkovsky, Owen Beck, and Raphael Harvey-Pinard, I felt they were the best line for the Red team. Slav set up Harvey-Pinard for 2 goals. I'm not sure what Owen Beck's stats were, and it was really hard to get a line on the assists at all. And if you didn't see the goal, you didn't see it because there were no replays. Can't do this review without mentioning Arbor Jacki. Arbor Jacki looked a lot better than I thought he would be this season, and you have to second guess. I was thinking that he wouldn't be ready for the NHL, but would play in Laval. I'm not so sure. And with the news that of Joel Edmondson injury, you got to think the Habs give him a really good look and maybe surprise that he makes the team. I don't know. We'll see. But Arbor Jacki, he's going to be no fun to play against if you're not on the Habs. Oh, yeah, he scored a goal. He might have had an assist. I'm not sure, but he scored a goal. And also, I felt he played a pretty good two-way game. I don't think we'll be able to pin down Arbor Jacki or Caden Gooley, for that matter, as either a puck-moving defenseman or a stay-at-home defenseman. They're kind of like a hybrid of the two, I find. In general, I found the whole Red squad played a really good game, but you can't really say that about the White squad. At least on offense, there was not much there, with Corey Sheneman getting their only goal. I believe it was on a pass, might have been on a pass from Drew Allen. I'm not sure about that, but I found, they were dominated by the Reds, so the Whites were a little lacking. Maybe it's because it was their first game in this preseason. I don't know. A little more there on Sheneman. He had a lot of shots. I found he was taking 4 or 5 shots. He was involved in the offense. He made some really good defensive plays. Corey Sheneman looks like he may be ready to challenge for a regular spot here in Montreal. Juraj Slafkovsky. He showed some really nice moves. Good puck protection. He played a lot of minutes, and he works really well in traffic. He's able to get passes away, and for a big guy, he's not bothered by the tight spaces, it seems. He looks really good in the corners too. There were 2 guys on him. One play, there were 2 guys on him, and he got this really nice pass away through the crease area. I don't remember if it led to a goal or not, but it was good work by Slafkovsky. If he can translate that into the NHL, even in his first season especially, I mean, this kid's going to be good. I missed the third scrimmage game the next morning. Didn't realize it was going to be every day like that. Anyway, so I saw the fourth one. I thought the play in the scrimmage on the second day was a lot more even. The Reds played really well, and they beat the Whites 4-1. But I found that the play from the Whites was a lot better. So I don't know if it's because it was the second day and they were just obviously a little bit shook the rust off a little bit and were playing a little better. But it was a much better game to watch. The standouts for me for the Reds was, and I should have mentioned him in the other reviews, because Emil Heineman. Emil Heineman looks really good, and he looked really good in the rookie development camp as well. He'll be going back to Sweden, and I don't know when he'll really hit Montreal as far as being able to make the team. But he really stood out, and I think this kid's going to be, a good NHL player, and you can see why GM Kent Hughes insisted on having him as part of the trade for Tyler Toffoli. Kirby Dach also stood out in this game as he did in the first game. I think Kirby Dach's going to be he's going to be good here. Anybody worried about Dach and that he hasn't in his first 3 years made a mark? I think he's going to make a mark here this year. I think this could be his breakout season. Even though Montreal overall won't be good, but I think the offense will be, and I think Dach's ready to prove that Yeah, he's a regular NHL centerman, and I'm looking forward to it. He looks really big out there. That's why he really looks big out there. On the white side for the that fourth game, I have Jake Evans listed as being a standout, but that was in the first period. In the second period, I don't know what was wrong. I thought he might have gotten injured because I hardly noticed him. Thought he wasn't in the game anymore, and then near the end, I saw him take some shifts. So, but he was really good in the first period. His line was really good as well. Corey Sheneman again stood out for the second game in a row, and you can see Sheneman, I think, is ready to maybe make the team. Maybe he'll be involved in a trade because teams might be looking for that. I mean, maybe that's how they move some salary out. We'll see what happens with that. And then Mike Pizzetta. Mike Pizzetta had like a lot of shots. He looked really good on offense, almost kind of like the coaches were saying, when you get the puck, you take a shot. We want to see that part of your game today, that kind of thing. But Mike Pizzetta was a standout in that game, I thought. The goals came from Mitchell Stevens, this is for the Reds, Emil Heineman, say that 5 times fast, Joel Teasdale, and Kirby Dock. And then for the Whites, it was Sheneman. I believe he scored in both games. There you go. I didn't see that third game, so I can't review it. But there you go. That's my review for the scrimmages. First time I'm doing that, and it was really great. Even though it was only in French, it was really great to see, to be able to see the scrimmages like that. I don't know if they've done this every year because I have not seen that before, but it was really fun to watch. Hey, thanks for watching. Please give a thumbs up if you liked the video. Till next time, keep your stick on the ice. Stay safe out there. Peace out, y'all. Bye, everybody.